The sea covers over 2/3 of the planet's surface. Yet we know more about space and the universe than we do about our own oceans. Between the states of Connecticut and New York is the Long Island Sound, a naturally protected channel into New York City used for over hundreds of years. The Sound's rich maritime history has played a significant role in the growth of our country. Join us as we explore its unsung residents and its forgotten history. Welcome back, everybody. Captain Dennis here with Squalus Marine Divers. We're going to go on a little field trip today up to the great state of Maine. Traffic was pretty light today, and I left Norwalk at about 2 o'clock. From Norwalk, it takes about 3 hours to get to the Piscataqua River Bridge, which is pretty much the gateway to Maine. Unfortunately, where we're headed, it takes a solid 8.5 hours. Depending on weather and traffic, of course. Where we're headed is a place called Steuben, Maine. It's in a section called Down East, Maine. As you can see, we're still driving. And after 466 miles of sheer bliss, we find our way into the BBS Lobster Trap facility in Steuben, Maine. After a long day of driving, I can't wait to climb into my sleeper bunk and get a decent night's rest. Tomorrow's going to be an eventful day. People ask me all the time, where do you get your lobsters during the winter months? And I tell them I get them from a lobster pound. You see, in the summer, lobsters shed. They shed their old shell just like a snake sheds its skin. The only difference is a lobster is very vulnerable and very soft. Lobsters are caught and brought into a pier, and they're bought by poundskeepers. Poundskeepers take the lobsters and put them in a lobster pound. New shell lobsters don't fetch a high price, but old shell lobsters do. If a poundskeeper can play his cards right and take care of his lobsters, he can turn a pretty decent profit. Poundskeepers have all kinds of things to worry about. From basic things like feeding the lobster properly, worrying about disease, and freshwater runoff into the pounds can actually kill lobsters, not to mention good old-fashioned cannibalism. I'll be diving today with Victor Sokolowski. Victor runs the pound in Steuben and suggested that I come up and dive when it only has 12,000 pounds of product inside. This pound holds 120,000 pounds of lobster at full capacity. It was low water and there's really no current in the pound, but as you got to the bottom you could see there were lobsters everywhere. 12,000 pounds isn't too bad for the visibility in here. The more lobsters, the more silt, and the less visibility. The lobsters are banded not because we're wimps and we're afraid to get pinched. They're banded so they don't crush each other and fight each other. Lobsters don't like other lobsters. And you'll see just how aggressive they can be in this video. Poundskeepers have all kinds of hurdles to overcome. The more lobsters you put in a pound, the less oxygen there is. So the poundskeeper has to install an aeration system to interject new oxygen into the water. If the oxygen gets too low, the lobsters will simply die and you will be out large sums of money. Lobsters are not afraid of scuba divers, as you can see. They can become aggressive, especially when they feel threatened. Lobsters are territorial. This guy Doesn't want me coming any closer. Green crabs also share the lobster pound. They scavenge around for leftover food, and if you look to the left, you can see very small shrimp that also inhabit the pound. These small snails are everywhere in Maine. They're known as wrinkles. Lobster love to eat herring. That's how they got here in the first place. Herring is shoveled into the pound to maintain a nice healthy lobster. This large gate is not for Poseidon to release the Kraken. This is the gate that is opened to drain the pound. This allows water to flow in and flow out, but it keeps the lobsters inside. Just like a zinc on your boat, there's a zinc in the lobster pound. It's a sacrificial anode so that the salt water doesn't destroy the metal on the gate. This gate is used during the winter so that when there's high water, they can shove the chunks of ice out into the bay. Although it's not diving, I'd like to take you for a quick stroll into the tank room to see how the lobsters are processed and graded for shipment. Each one of these crates weighs about 116 pounds, 100 pounds for lobster and 16 pounds for the crate. Here you can see the gentleman grading the lobsters based on weight. And here's being graded from a lobster's point of view. Picked up, weighed, and then put in the appropriate crate. Then the doors are closed and the crate is placed into the tank. The water for the lobster tank must be regulated at all times. The oxygen and pH levels must be precise. If the oxygen in the tank room gets too low, there are actually loud sirens that alert the staff. I'd like to say thanks for the Lobster Trap for allowing me to dive in their facility today, and feel free to check out their website at lobstertrap.com for all your lobster needs.
There's a lot of lobster in this pound. I can't find any though. Where are they hiding?